Show me the money, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a look at the top 15 highest paid female athletes of 24. And this list is broken down by salary, winnings, and endorsements. And as always, I'm your host, Good Energy. We're going to primarily take a look at the tennis players that make up this list, as this video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use of Fair Dealing and the Digital Millennium Act. From Kazakhstan, the giant Aryna Rybakina. That's right, guys. Just under $9 million total in earnings. One of the best servers on tour, arguably the best server on tour. A kind of rough end to the 24 season with injuries, parting ways with her coach. She's had testimonial issues. She's had shoulder issues. And now she's got coach issues. Listen, I don't think it's going to be an issue in the 25 season. A healthy Aryna Rybakina has shown you that she can dominate Iga Swiatek without a problem. She has shown you that she can compete with Aryna Sabalenka. And the big story early this year was who is the big three? Who makes up the big three? We saw players like Marta Kashu come forward and say the big three, in her opinion, she thinks is Iga, Aryna Sabalenka, and Aryna Rybakina. Aryna Rybakina's serve is literally a problem to deal with. We've seen her give Iga Swiatek, Aryna Sabalenka problems constantly with her serve, right? She can put up double-digit aces in any match. If she comes into the 25 season healthy, I think she's going to find herself possibly inside the top 10 next year with more endorsements. She might even win another slam this year. She's mentioned she doesn't feel like a slam winner. You know, that SW19 championship she won with, the depleted draw. The Russians weren't allowed. We all know. I do feel, honestly, I don't know if she wins that slam if the Russians were allowed. I mean, that's a curveball. But again, we're not going to speak to what if. She is a slam champion. She deserves to be a slam champion. So I don't know why she feels that way. She's one of the best players on tour. She's the Iga killer. But should she be in the big three? I think now the big three, of course, we know she's not in the big three. Coco by far having defeated Sabalenka and Iga to get to the championship. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I think the first player to defeat the number one and the number two en route to a championship, and since Serena Williams did it, or, well, technically, that's a joke because Serena Williams would have been the number one or two, but it just hasn't been done. And the reality here is Coco did it. There's no doubt she's in the top three. But if Aryna Rybakina comes healthy, I mean, you can even argue that Coco's the number one. But if Aryna Rybakina comes back healthy, my personal opinion, I think she'll be in the top three, and that means someone's got to go. Is it Iga Swiatek? We'll see. Next up on this list for highest paid female athletes, we're taking a look primarily at tennis players. Again, just under $9 million from Buffalo, New York. If you've never been there, you probably don't want to go. It's so cold. It's freezing this time of year. Big game, Jessie P. Now, she's recently come forward, and she's defending Iga Swiatek, not directly, but she says she has the trust and believe that the findings of the ITIA, they have to be legitimate. They are a legitimate organization. It's their job to protect the integrity of the sport. And Jessica Pegula says, I have to agree with their findings. It seems pretty reasonable. Now, big game Jessie P, I say it all the time, she's a walking quarterfinal at these master events. She's finally got through and over that hump of making a slam final. That slam semifinal appearance that was holding her back, she got through there and she made the championship match. Congratulations to Jessie P. My personal opinion, and I've talked about this, once you hit that 30-year age, the only person, the last decade or so to make a final over 30 years old was Serena Williams, right? Jessica Pegula is going to show that consistency that she can do it over 30 years old because she's very technical. She's a very skilled player, high IQ. Yes, she had a horrible performance at this past WTA finals in Saudi Arabia, but listen, she wasn't healthy. I wouldn't look too much into that. She recently had the exhibition event with stars like Ben Shelton, Emma Navarro, tennis at the Garden. She's big time. Jessica Pegula is going to have an amazing 25 season. I hope she comes back healthy. One of your top earners this year on tour. And as we take a look at the next tennis player on this list, again, we're going to primarily focus on tennis players. Jasmine Paolini, ladies and gentlemen. She made bank this year. And you can see the salary breakdown there. Look at the endorsements. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I think sky's the limit for Jasmine Paolini. I've been talking about her for a very long time. My personal opinion, even though she's one of the older ladies on tour, the highest ranked Italian player in the history of tennis, the world's ranked number 4, the first to make the French Open final and the SW19 final back to back since Serena Williams to do it. She's fast. She's explosive. Her forehand improvements have led her to be a top 10 player. Her speed and athletic ability is not going anywhere because she has that genetically. My personal opinion, I think she's going to be flirting with several more championships this year for the 25 season, particularly these WTA master events. Watch out, because Jasmine Paolini is here to stay, ladies and gentlemen. Next up on this list in terms of tennis players is going to be Emma Raducanu, but I want to take a look at Caitlin Clark, ladies and gentlemen. Now, a lot of people thought, if you see there, she made bank, and they're not showing her salary because her salary was what, basically $175,000, something like that. So in terms of her endorsements, she made bank last year, ladies and gentlemen. That's a ton of money, right? I'd probably say over $11 million. She has that new sneaker contract with Nike, the all-time leading NCAA basketball scoring champion. She is very skilled. She's super duper fast. Watching her play, I would like to see her. I mean, when she came into the WNBA rookie season, she was a little bit undersized. I think she did bulk up towards the end of the season, but she was getting picked on a lot, because for the most part, you had a lot of ladies in the WNBA that had been there for years. And here's how this works. Any of the superstars in the WNBA, like Diana Taurasi, she took shots at Caitlin Clark. They were elite athletes in college. They were all number 1 picks, especially the superstars. So for Caitlin Clark to come in and get this type of PR, I felt it was a way to have the endorsements and the sponsors, especially the corporate sponsors, find a way to back the WNBA. They needed the next big thing. But guys, I've been supporting women's sports for a long time. And I tell you, all of these stars for these teams that lead their teams, they were all amazing in college, and they all came into the WNBA superstars. I think Caitlin Clark showed you, though, that she is possibly going to be the future of the WNBA because she is super duper fast. She can shoot the three-pointer. She is a great ball handler. She's a great passer. Yes, she started the league averaging about 6 to 7 turnovers per match, but that's because these players really wanted to prove that they were elite as well, and they did show that. But I do think Caitlin Clark, her second year, she's going to put up numbers, especially with her center. What's her name? I can't think of her name right now, but she has a center that plays with her on the Indiana Fever that used to dunk the ball in college. I can't think of her name. Comment in the comments if you know her name, but she's freaking amazing. I think Caitlin Clark, they fired their coach. I think they're going to have an amazing season. We have to talk Caitlin Clark because she's that big in the sports landscape, but that also lets you know how big these tennis players are. Next up on this list is possibly, again, around 11 million, the best female athlete possibly in the history of athletics, Simone Biles. She's got so many gold medals. I don't even know how many gold medals she has. She has too many for me to count or even remember. This woman right here is amazing. And what she's doing for female gymnastics, she has her own club where these young ladies come in, they train. They're also preparing for different teams and Olympic spots. This woman, Simone Biles, is amazing, guys. There's no way I could not talk about Caitlin Clark or Simone Biles. Two amazing ladies there. Let's head to next up on this list. Not much for salary, but $14 million in endorsements. Emma Raducanu. She's big time. She said it best. No matter what the haters say about me, you'll never take away my Grand Slam title. U.S. Open champion in 21. Injury plague, though. I do think the 25 season, she's positioned to do well. We need Emma Raducanu back inside at least the top 20, preferably the top 10. Imagine if she made the Saudi Arabia WTA finals. That would be huge. And listen, guys, I'm going to be in Saudi Arabia next year. I'm going to the WTA finals. Emma Raducanu's got one of the best backhands on tour. She's classy. She speaks well. She's eloquent. I like Emma Raducanu. I want to see her succeed on this list. Next up, we're going to take a look at Konnichiwa. $15 million in endorsements. Not much for salary, but she's still big time. I think one of the best servers on tour. One of the best forehands and backhands on tour. One of the most technical players on tour. And we're going to see how she takes it to the next level with Patrick coaching her. I do think as long as she's mentally tough and prepared, if she's in shape, I don't think anyone beats Osaka. I'm sorry. I love Coco. I think she's amazing. I don't think Iga beats Osaka. I don't think we're backing up Sabalenka. I don't think anyone beats Osaka if she's back on her game. Not even Coco. Next up on this list, ladies and gentlemen, from Belarus. Now, she got paid last year, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, guys. If you take a look there, over $20 million. Aryna Sabalenka hits hard. She scares me. Now, Aryna Sabalenka, possibly the queen of hardcourt tennis right now, especially holding two of the hardcourt slams right now, the Australian Open and the U.S. Open. I did think at the WTA finals, she acted a bit childish and immature. I mean, the way she behaved during that match with Coco, unacceptable for a world's ranked number one. However, ladies and gentlemen, if you want her spot, you better take it. I think she's going to have trouble, though, defending that Australian Open championship. If you ask me, the draw she had last year, all those qualifiers, and injured Barbora, Coco, who blew the first set and the second set when she had a break opportunity, I think it's going to be a little bit more challenging for her to defend this title for a third time. I don't think Sabalenka defends her Australian Open title, but however, if she can, she's going to be number one for a long time if she defends that title. Next up on this list, from China, also over $20 million, Qinwen Zheng, ladies and gentlemen. Now, she's shown that with the coaching of Pariba, sky's the limit for her. Now, he's not going to be with her to start this Australian leg of the tour. He's having surgery. But Qinwen Zheng, guys, she's getting a lot of haters on tour. Emma Navarro, others. My personal opinion, she's not your friend. And she said it herself. Look, I'm not here to make friends. And I think that edge of not having that pressure to make friends is letting her focus more on her game. I do think the match against Coco, though, she was a little bit disrespectful. However, if that's her demeanor, if that's what motivates her to play well, I mean, do it. She said it. Look, she's not here to make friends. And Serena had a phase in her career where she wasn't trying to be friends either. That's how Serena Williams and Sloane Stephens got into it, because Sloane Stephens tried to lean on Serena for support and guidance and mentorship. And Serena's like, look, I just want to play tennis and focus on what I need to do. And you can't really blame a person for that. I think Qinwen's taking those kind of principles from Serena. Focus more on your game. Look, I'm not your friend. If you want to gossip or talk or chatty-patty after the match, we can. But this is a job for me. This is business. And I do think Qinwen Zheng will be back in Saudi Arabia next year. She's going to be a handful to deal with. She has a good serve. She has a good forehand, and she continues to work on her two-way net play. Her defense is improving. She hasn't been a great defender, but that's improving. She continues to work on her footwork and build strength. She's going to eventually take out Sabalenka. And once she turns that page and starts beating Sabalenka, she's never beat her before. She's actually only won one set off of her, right? Or maybe even 0 sets. She hasn't won a set off of her. No, she's won 1 set off of her. I think they played, 5 times? She's finally won 1 set. If she can turn that page and finally start consistently hanging in those rallies with Sabalenka, that's when she starts to dominate the tour. Next up on this list, from Warsaw, Iga, big bad Iga, over $21 million. Iga Swiatek, guys. Now, involved in the recent doping scandal, the ITIA says, look, minimal contamination, it's cross-contamination, it's not her fault. That's the finding, that's what they've ruled. Jessica Pegula, the newest on the list to come to her defense. But we also have stars like Nick Kyrgios that said, look, this is sending the bad message to young tennis fans and players that want to play, that you can get caught doping and using illegal performance-enhancing drugs and just blame it on a mistake that you didn't know about. That's his opinion, allegedly. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, the ITIA said what they said. Iga Swiatek is back. She's going to be right in the mix with that top 3. She's that good of a player. Now, if she works on her stamina, these longer rallies with Wim, I think she's going to consistently continue to win tournaments and championships. The question is, will she remain the clay queen? That's the only question, because when she finally is unable to defend that French Open, I think that's going to have a huge confidence blow to her game. Next up, guys, on this list, Eileen Gu from China. Listen, guys, like 9 gold medals. I have to talk about her because she's so darn big. That's right, guys. She's an amazing freestyler. I think personally, the Chinese Federation has shown that they support a lot of their athletes, and I think Qinwen Zheng is receiving that same type of treatment. I think it's good. They're giving them the resources they need to succeed and the support. Look, she's going to be on this list for a long time. And number 1 on this list, the top earning female. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the top earning female this year for 2 years in a row, the future of tennis, Coco Gauff, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. $30 million in earnings. Unfreaking real, ladies and gentlemen. Your WTA champion. She won the Saudi Arabia championship, taking out Qinwen Zheng, taking out Aryna Sabalenka, taking out Iga Swiatek. The first time a player has done that in ages to be the number 1 and number 2 player in a tournament to win the championship. With no doubt about it, when we're talking big 3, Coco's in that discussion. Whether you put her number 1 or number 2 is up to you, but she is not number 3 on that list anymore, ladies and gentlemen. The best defensive player in the business. Her statistics show it 2 years in a row. Best backhand in the business. And now she's improved the serve. The forehand is looking good. She's classy. She's got a respectful demeanor. You can change the world with her racket. Your father told you that. And she has stood up. Her philanthropy is unmatched. She's stood up for countless causes, helping propel society forward. She's just a class act, guys. And I think personally she's going to lead this. She's going to lead this list again. Who's going to beat her? I know Caitlin Clark has that. She has some endorsement deals that are brewing that are going to be big, but I don't think Coco's going to be off this list leading female athletes for a long time. Why? Because factor in her winning the Australian Open or the U.S. Open or maybe a SW19, maybe even a French Open. She's always there in the semifinal match. She's always knocking on the quarterfinal, semifinal match at the French Open. She's always knocking on the door. Imagine when she wins a couple more slams in a season, she's going to get more endorsements. She's going to get bigger and bigger. And she's such a classy player. Coco Gauff, guys, she leads this list of players. That's right. 2 years in a row, the top earning female athlete. Coco's here to stay, guys. I'm your host, Good Energy. Congratulations, Coco. We're going to talk more tennis. We're going to talk Jessica Pegula backing Iga Swiatek. And we do have more tennis in France, guys. Elsa Jackman, she just finished her match. I'll talk a little bit about that later. See you guys soon. Show Coco some love as she's your top earning female athlete for another year in a row. I'm Good Energy. I love you guys. I'll be back.